Hello, rise and shine, everyone. I'm Jessie. Welcome to my channel. Today I came on, just wanted to do an upload. Kind of personal for me. Usually on my channel, I usually just upload music. But today is just a little different. I wanted to just speak on a special topic with you guys, something personally that I've been going through for some years now, and many others around me. And I just wanted to share my experience in hopes to help someone else. I've been doing a lot of research and just trying to educate myself and bring awareness to this, not only for the people around me, but others out here that are battling cancer in their youth, elders that are battling it as well. And I feel like we can all kind of share our experience, share what we know in hopes to help each other. Because to me, one of the worst things that is happening right now in the world is information is being suppressed. A lot of people, particularly minorities, are not really educated as well with cancer and illness. I feel like we don't dig in very much, and we do a lot of listening to the doctors without listening to ourselves first. So quick disclosure, I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. You don't have to listen to a thing that I say. I'm simply just sharing my experience, what I've been going through, how I've been dealing with it in hopes to help someone else. So let's get to it. So one thing I want to mention is, without getting too deep, is we have 15 generations of memory and trauma that we carry inside of us. So that's our ancestors that came before us. And you got to think 15 generations ago, it was slavery. It was a lot of things going on. And you hold that trauma. You hold those memories, believe it or not, in your DNA. So I say that to say that we all need some form of healing, because along with that, battle that we're already born into, we, at the moment from baby on up, we start to accumulate our own trauma and memories, and really just lingers and accumulates eventually to like disease and depression, things like that. Believe it or not, it really goes deep. So first, I say that to say that a lot of stress, a lot of depression, trauma, things like that can lead to cancer. It may not be the total piece of everything, but it's definitely a part of it. So keep that in mind. Try to dig deep into yourselves. Try to heal yourselves, because just remember that we are carrying that trauma and we all need healing. Nobody out here is perfect, and everybody have experienced some things that we wear every day, So with that being said, I just want to to begin to talk about cancer in general and a little bit about me. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 26. It was in my left breast. I had 3 tumors. They were in my duct. My first step was being diagnosed. I didn't really understand cancer that much. I wasn't knowledgeable of it. The only people that I felt like I could trust or was knowledgeable of it was my doctors, of course. So I was going to listen and do, the things that they wanted me to do. And the first was chemotherapy. Second was double mastectomy. Well, actually, it was just to remove the left breast, but I decided to do both because I was told that it could return back in the right breast. So I said, so I started with chemotherapy first, and then surgery. And chemotherapy, usually people can be on chemotherapy for months, They could be on chemotherapy for a year. I mean, it all depends on how your cancer is, how aggressive they want to treat it. I believe they wanted me to do anywhere from like 18 to 20 rounds of chemotherapy. And I just remember getting the first one, and my body felt really just like it had taken a beating. I remember they would come out in these hazmat suits, and she was giving me a needle in my arm, and she said, you know, we have to really make sure that we get into your vein. And they wanted to do a port, but I was scheduled the following week for the port. So we were doing the vein the first time in the arm. So I just remember her saying we have to get in this vein because if, you know, it's the chemo comes out or spills out anywhere, it will burn right through your flesh all the way down to your bone. And I just remember thinking, like, why am I putting this in my body then? Like, what is this doing to the inside of my body? And the way I describe it is like dumping bleach into your body. It's full of toxins. It just goes in and it literally kills cells. It doesn't distinguish any the good cells. It doesn't distinguish the bad cells. It just goes in and destroys. So and you feel that. You feel that in your body. It's very, very painful. I was nauseated 24/7. You walk around. Most cancer patients walk around on chemo with a barf bag. So it's literally all day gagging. It's horrible. Without getting too gruesome, but that's the facts. So I did that, and by my third one, I just remember I had got it that day. I went home. I was laying on the couch, and that night in my sleep, I recall my heart literally stopping in my sleep, and it was like I woke up in my sleep. So I'm still asleep, but I'm awake, and I just knew my heart had stopped. I pretty much found my way back to a beat and back into my body. And once I came to, I knew what had happened. And I also knew that I was never taking it again. So I went on my next visit, and I just informed them, like, you know, we can go to surgery and just remove it that way and see how it works. So of course, I went through surgery and I had both of my breasts removed. Cancer is supposedly quote unquote gone, and I was told, okay, we were giving you this chemo drug. We gave it to you 3 rounds, and it didn't do anything to the tumor. So I feel like for me, I was so glad that I even stopped it, because if it was really working, that was almost 2 months that I was dumping this stuff into my body, and it didn't shrink my tumor, not one drop. So to me, that was all for nothing. That was just one thing that I paid attention to. So I had the surgery. I was fine. I was doing well. I was healing. Then maybe I would say about 4 to 6 months go by, and my scars are healing. Everything's healing up, but there's a wet that comes onto the end of my scar. It looks like a wet mark. Go back to the doctor. They say they want to check it out, do a biopsy on it. She tells me, okay, this also has cancerous cells in it. We need to cut this one spot out. Maybe this is a piece that I didn't totally remove or cut on your breast, this one spot. So we're going to do another surgery, and we're going to cut that. So I come to, I got a cut from underneath my arm all the way, it's all the way across. And just to remove that one little spot. So after that, I knew that was it for me for surgery. I said, I don't care how it goes. Nobody's cutting on me ever again. That's it. I didn't do radiation. I was starting to rebel a little bit with the doctors, because I was noticing, like, are we continuously doing things that are not working. Once that WEP came back, I kind of started getting into a little bit of research about, just trying to prevent cancer from coming back. I was just stumbling across a little YouTube videos and noticing how people had changed their diet. I seen one thing, I remember seeing something that said that you could starve cancer cells in 2 weeks by changing to an alkaline diet. I started seeing little things online and Instagram and stuff with Dr. Sabi. And I started researching into him about cancer because I knew that I didn't want to have to face it again ever. I didn't want to see it. But so I just started changing my diet. I went totally plant-based for about at least a good 6 to 8 months. Really cleaned my body out. I lost a ton of weight. Everybody thought I was dying. But I really had just cleaned my body out. I really flushed my body like really, really good. I didn't eat anything bad. I'm a Maryland girl, and I just remember like eating all plant-based. And one summer I wanted a crab so bad. So I tried to eat a crab, and it came right back up. My body was like, no, we're not used to that no more. So that's how clean I had got my body. So then, a couple years go by, all is well. Back out here doing my music, being a mom, doing all that great stuff. I'm back working. I was doing, like I said, doing music, and I was also in the dentistry field, in the corporate world, managing dental offices. So I was doing everything. I was all over the place, and traveling as well. So COVID hits. I started, maybe a few months before COVID hit, I started experiencing really bad back pains. I mean, it was bad, but mainly around when my menstrual would come on, it would just be terrible. Really bad back pain. So I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people where I don't want to know. So I was like, I didn't want to think the worst, and I was just like, maybe it's just my back, my menstrual was on, and it just continued to do that month after month, and then eventually it was like week in and week out, day after day, and I was like, okay, now the pain is like, I'm here, I've showed up, I've arrived, and you gotta face me. So COVID hit, it gets worse to the point where I can't get up, I can't really even walk, I couldn't even tie my shoe. My daughter had to put my shoe on so that I could take myself to the hospital. So I went there. I'm one of those people where I didn't want to tell my family or do anything. I wanted to go see what was going on by myself. So I drove myself to the hospital, and they did, scans and did everything. I didn't tell the hospital that I had, breast cancer before. I just wanted to see what they was going to tell me first without even giving them a clue about me. So he does a scan. He comes back. He's saying that, okay, it looks like there's some spots on your bones. This doesn't look pretty normal, but it could be multiple things. And then that's when I kind of told him about the history of my breast cancer, and that's when he was saying, okay, now we really need to check this stuff out and see what it is, because it looks like it has metastasized to your spine, to your bones. And I was like, okay, here we go. Long story short, scans, everything is done. It's metastasized to my bone. I am now labeled a stage 4 cancer patient as of March 2020. So I don't know, everybody around me was kind of panicking, crying, and I had did so much, for the last 2 years, I had did so much research. I was telling my family and friends, I would sit in the house on a Friday night all the way through Sunday. I'm off on the weekends, and I would just research all day. I don't know, I would just tell my family, I'm like, I don't know why I'm writing down books and getting all this information. This was 2 years prior. I didn't know why I was learning all of this stuff and feeding myself all of this information and doing all this spiritual work at the time. But in actuality, when I got that diagnosis in March 2020, I then knew why I was doing all that. It kind of like clicked for me. And so when everybody was frantic and crying and panicking, I had done so much research and so much spiritual inner work on myself that by then I wasn't afraid of anything, and including stage 4 cancer. I was fearless. Even the doctor, like when he told me and gave me the diagnosis,